Hello everyone. I want to take a minute now to kind of just share a little and give some understanding to where I've been. I said before how I knew if I was ever to write, then, it would be after I understood. I knew not to write until I understood. And even then, I knew in me that once these things was accomplished and known, there would be no more reason to write. However, once man had received and the work had been done in them, however, there's still things I'm not sure how everything unfolds, and just to be able to begin to put things out, I'm going to begin to write now. And just bear with me, because I that's why I need to write, so I can just focus on one piece at a time. There's not a second that in these 4 years since the revelation began that this is not all that I am consumed. And I want to tell my testimony from beginning, but sometimes I think that might be the easiest way, or maybe just for me to write it out, to begin to write it out, because this has been a blessed and trying, 4 years, in the beginning of the revelation, because there was a work began with faith, but it was a work, in a process, it brung through, and I had to go. There were certain reasons why I had to go through what I did these last months. It's just so much to share, to begin to speak, that, the work that happened to me in the first years, that was all that I had eaten. That was the revealing, giving me understanding. That was the Spirit entering. That was the Spirit purging out my mind. That is what the work is about. That is what it is all about. That is the salvation. Because of what was filled in you, you became darkened. So, but, through my testimony, I've known everything that was told to me when I ate the book. Everything that I had received through Christ, through my faith. Those things have been accomplished in me, and much, much more has been accomplished in me. There was many things that, if I would have spoke, I couldn't until I understood certain things. I had to know what has been done, and that's what has been shown to me these years, and now these last months. This was all the preparing me to do my part, to do what I was called to do, and what I gave myself to do when I first heard. It's not anything in my flesh that I'm doing. It's not no works of flesh. It is through that faith. That is how it was all worked. And it is amazing, what has been, done in myself and shown to me, the work. Even the work of the Father. And even the work, just the works. The works of light, the works of darkness. What you bring forth when you come to know how all is really worked. Those years when that purging, it was because of so much wrong being spoken. And there were so many things that stopped me from speaking, because I thought someone would boast. They think I'm boastful. I think I'm proud and think I know more, and then and the other things, it's just, I had to become fully prepared. And when you are shown, there was no questioning. There was nothing. I was made to see, because that faith in me, and that will in me. Through that faith, I received all, and these things was accomplished. And it was a struggle. There was some great struggle. But it was because that faith and what I had first known, that's what got me through. And with all that I would be able to give. I don't even know, and I haven't even, in these years, even when all the joy that first was filled in me, I gave what I could just to help the faith, because there was so much I wasn't ready to speak, and or to deny, all the false teaching. And I'm going to try to post this. I've tried to make many, and I know that I have to put these out rightly, so, and another thing, when I began to, I had to go back in. See, it was all when that light, when that truth was through what I had eaten, when those things was understood, that was that falseness of the letter, that misunderstanding, that darkened mind, but because that so many still had it, I had to go back into it. I had to go back in and let me see through, with the Spirit working in me, what had been done. I was given eyes to go see, and that's what I've done 2 years. And when I began, and I would have to tell it from the beginning, this is my part. This is what I had. This was how I had to be fully prepared. And it is only through grace that one like myself, receives that deliverance, salvation, because there's not, there's so much that you cannot possibly explain what I had to endure to come to see the fullness. And there's so much, and even in other writings, anywhere there is truth spoken, but it is only through the Spirit and that faith that you can receive what was truly spoken. And Booker Hush, please. And it was a process brought me through to hear what had truly been, in Spirit spoken. The Spirit, I went beneath, because when I saw the error in the text, although that was how it was worked, it was all done this way. Through faith you received through that letter. And through faith, all these things was accomplished. But beneath, there is a whole. The Spirit expounds all that had been done, everything from beginning all the way through. And there's few who has, unless you've been there 2 years, learning how through the Spirit, learning how this conversation is going. Learning how words was used. Many things that man sees carnally and thinks of the letter, that's not even the carnal, what was the word truly that was truly used has nothing to do. It is Spirit. There's just so many things, but when I first began to see, no, I did not have enough. I wasn't no Greek scholar. I couldn't show you what I'm sitting here hearing in the conversation through the Spirit. And I didn't have enough. I had to hear the whole conversation. And I was hearing pieces all day. That's all I've done all day for 2 years, except when I go to work. And that became harder and harder. The more I heard of what had been done and how it was worked, the harder it began. I went through a very hard time this last month because of, it was just so much is hard for me to and it's not how the preparation has happened in me that I'm to speak. It's that good word that I'm to speak. I had to, it was given, and I had to come to see. Not everyone will have to go through what I have these years. They're not to the extent of it. And I don't understand fully some things, concerning, it's just some things are really hard for me to say, but I'm going to begin to write, just so I can give little by little. And I guess it's, the preparation of, that is the making the way straight. But what's been prepared for me to give in spirit, to give of Christ, I don't know how everything will work in my life, but now I'm prepared and strong. It's just so much as I have been filled my whole life that I've held everything in. And these years that I could not share, these last years and especially month, that's why, so much joy and so much, and even the things that I had to struggle. That last final fight, but now, and there was times I thought, once I had certain, understanding of how things was worked, I was just so ready to come, but I just could not begin. So I know I couldn't begin until, I was perfectly able. And this has nothing to do with any, like I said, any works of my flesh. When man comes, that's the thing. It's because of what's in man that the works of the flesh come about. When man becomes purged of these things, when man becomes, filled with that goodness and that darkness and that all that is contrary to mercy, peace, truth, good, everything. When all that's purged out, then that's when the works of the Spirit, the good works are shown through me. And that's when they, so many things. It's just so beautiful, really. And it's amazing how it's been done. And I know this is a little, how through Christ and Spirit these things become fulfilled, and how the error of man, how it was made, how it was corrected. And truly I don't know how much sense I made right now, but I'm going to begin to just, and now because I know what has been done and what is and what it was all for, and everything tells you in there. What even what's in the world, you will understand everything when you see these things. Yeah, some things just, I might make another little video, but I just wanted to, say a few words. and it was because, so much air. And then because I, what was given to me long ago, I knew I wasn't supposed to open my mouth until I understood that I would not speak a lie or any falsehood. And that's why, there's even, I've learned so much falsehood being spoken, through what is through man's darkened understanding, through their perception, they're through the very thing they believe, and then they speak. But then there was those also who, and I know I will make more sense when I start slowly. I just have to say a word today. But then even some of my brethren, because it is the brethren, it's of faith. But your faith has to be, that just has the trying of your faith, and your faith has to be purified. Faith, the faith, when it has falsehood mixed in, that's your faith. Your faith is not pure, or your word is not pure. Your mind, your understanding is not pure. And, so many speak, even my brethren, some would speak, and they speak things that are not rightly understood, because they had not discerned and separated, have not been able as to. But I hadn't, there's just so much, that every word and gift of Christ is blessing and mercy. And now that I will be able to show some things where you see what was done. And, man, think of this salvation to fly off. This is not the salvation, is when you cast out of you all that is contrary and against Christ and peace and truth and everything good. That is salvation. When Satan no longer, when that's the falsehood, lies, darkness, can all those things no longer rule in your temple. That is salvation. And that was why all was done. And I have been shown what has been done. But just because some things I see because of faith, some things I have to understand how to speak some things, because this, as I was made ready within and prepared, I'll be made ready to put out the word rightly. It was because of corruption, what had been done, that man's mind became darkened, and that was why Christ was sent. To save you from that very darkness. That is the death. That is the death in you. It is when you... I hope something made sense. It will when I come again. All was done for mercy and peace and life. And you had to be made able to see what you did not know, that you could live, that you could just I'm just going to leave it, because there's just so many things that I'm only now, thoroughly prepared, I have a testimony, and it's been a great journey these 4 years. It was, because although the work that was done in me, it was for what I did not understand. Through that word and through what others spoke, I had need to understand what truly was, and that's what was shown to me in these 2 years, is how everything was done. And there's many things that you perceive that word of Christ. You perceive, through that letter, through your faith, you can receive. But there's so much that, that I can't say anymore, because I'm getting off, and this is all my life has been for. This is all I've ever truly thought of. This is since I was little. And I don't know when the seed was first, sown in me. But and this is, the only true joy I've ever had was when these things was revealed. But the only, through holding these things in these years, I have been very heavy laden, and that, through that made it, I went through this struggle. But now I'm ready, and when I give, that is my joy. Then I will have joy. Then I will live. And I do it all.